Welcome back once again. We're back with another episode of the Real Views Show. Real views from real people, or in this case, again, real person. With myself, Mars the Rhetorical, aka Mars Reviews. If you don't know, I've been dropping reviews on my Instagram and kind of made me do a podcast. So here we are. So we're doing it again, another show. We're going to jump straight into it. Today, we will be talking about the Duel of the Dolittles. So this is basically the two Dolittle films that came out nowhere near each other. One is from 1998, one is from last year. I'm talking, of course, about Dolittle, starring Robert Downey Jr., and Dr. Dolittle, starring Eddie Murphy back in 1998. And basically I watched Dolittle recently, and I kind of did a review on it, and I thought, I wonder what that old one's like. Does that still live up to it? But we'll get into that a bit later. Right, before we jump into that, though, I'm just going to have a bit of movie news and movie gossip, I guess. Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League is coming out soon. Well, probably not worldwide. It's on HBO Max, so, we're not going to get it because of licensing laws and all that kind of stuff or whatever, which kind of sucks. But eventually, I'm sure it will be on a general release. So, looking forward to that movie. Hopefully it's better than what we did get. Whether you like the movie or not, I'm not its biggest fan, but I'm thinking this one should be better. So there's a lot of hype around it anyway. But in regards to that, Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg, obviously, so if you haven't been following it, Ray Fisher sort of spoke out about the mistreatment he had during the reshoots with Joss Whedon and can't remember the other guy's name now. Hang on, I'm just looking it up. I think the guy's name is Jeff Johns, that's it. Jeff Johns, and just some of the mistreatment he experienced there, and so a lot of the other cast has spoken up and stood with him on that. Unfortunately, though, he seems to be the only one paying the price, because if you've been following his socials recently, he's just been speaking up more about it and sort of kind of releasing, I guess, what was spoken about and what some of, not in detail what the issues were, but just some of what went down, kind of. And basically, Will Hamada, who is the president of DC Films, Walter Hamada, who's the president of DC Films, apparently has sort of taken these investigation findings and kind of done nothing with them. And Ray sort of believes it's to protect Jeff Johns, the co-president, the former co-president. So I don't know, it's a bit of a mess, really. I mean, and let's be honest, big studios and all that kind of thing, this kind of thing can and does happen. And it just, are Warner Brothers or DC trash for it? You can't tie everyone with the same brush, obviously, but these guys at the top, it's not cool. I kind of believe Ray, because, this kind of thing has happened before. And it's unfortunate. Oh, yeah, and further to that, apparently the new Flash movie that they've been working on, Cyborg's been cut from it a lot. I don't know if that's him. Can't remember if that's him stepping down or... no, I think they may have cut it just because he simply, he weren't having it kind of thing. So, yeah, basically Ray Fisher will no longer be playing Cyborg going forward, which is kind of, don't get me wrong, Cyborg... in terms of the movie world, isn't like, oh no, we're losing. It's not like, oh no, we're losing, I don't know, Captain America or whatever, you know what I mean? It's a first movie, it's a first portrayal or whatever, but in terms of the actor, I hope he gets his, you know what I mean? I just hope he picks up some really big, good, juicy roles and just makes it off of that, and then, does whatever, man. But, yeah, not cool, Hollywood. If it is true, this is all alleged stuff, this is all one man's word against another. They did obviously find that the findings were real, and some of the mistreatment was real, and a lot of the other casters spoke up about it, but it seems like he's the only one taking the burden of that, which isn't cool. In other news, if you're an MCU fan, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Spider-Man fan, apparently Charlie Cox's Daredevil has wrapped on Spider-Man 3, so according to comicbook.com, Daredevil will be in Spider-Man 3, probably in some sort of legal aid capacity, seeming as Peter Parker's identity got blown at the end of Spider-Man 2. So yeah, that should be interesting. That's kind of what's exciting. And if you haven't seen the Netflix's Daredevil, honestly, Charlie Cox, you're representing, man. That was a really good run and a really good series just in general. Now in terms of this news, I kind of like to steer clear this news so that when the movie comes out, you have some nice sort of surprises. This is kind of a huge one. If it's true, then obviously that cat's gonna come out of the bag sooner or later. You know what I mean? But for me personally, I kind of wish I didn't find out about this. But I'm also excited and looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong. But it just would have been a nice extra little surprise whenever Spider-Man 3 came around. I think it's coming out next year, maybe. I don't know the slate. Maybe I should go all my facts. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. In other MCU news, WandaVision dropped Friday. Yeah, two new episodes of the long-awaited WandaVision series. How are you feeling about it? Were you looking forward to this? I gotta say, they got me to a point, right, where they were just, obviously with COVID and everything, there's just been so many delays in that my Marvel First was just like, I needed something. Like, I found myself watching, like, the Avengers Assemble cartoons, which they're not terrible cartoons, but compared to some of the past Marvel cartoons, they're trash. Let's be honest. It's just let's take the stuff that people see in the movies and try and make some of it. And they're not complete trash. I mean, they do some stuff, but it's just not that great. It just hasn't got the depth. Like, well, Earth's Mightiest Heroes Avengers, that animated series, that was good. I just been watching, like, I even watched the Marvel 616 documentary. Some of them are interesting, But I just needed some new Marvel. And I'll tell you, when those credits rolled up, when those opening credits, the do 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 do, you know what I'm talking about. When those rolled up just before WandaVision started, flip, man, I was like, yes, finally. Watched 2 episodes. I like them. And it's kind of like, it's got this sort of impending doom behind it, which is a bit like, whoa, like something's off, obviously, and you know that because you know that what you're seeing. Cause just to break it down, spoiler alert. Basically, if you've seen the trailer, it's not really a spoiler anyway. But basically, the way it's formed is like kind of like a 50s sitcom, and everything's in black and white at the moment. So basically, you can tell that something's up because even throughout the sitcom, like there'll be little instances where it's like, but why are we here? Why are we doing this? And that kind of thing. And it just feels a bit off and a bit freaky. And I like it. For the most part, it's like a 50s sitcom, which, let's be honest, 50s sitcoms aren't really funny. I mean, not anymore. They may have been at a time, but they're just so irrelevant. But, some of it's kind of funny, I guess. What I'm saying is, with the kind of weirdness to it, sort of underlying it, it makes for interesting viewing. And you want to see how it plays out. Obviously, being a fan of the MCU, but also from a storytelling point of view, you want to see what the weirdness is, like what is wrong here, And there is obviously something wrong. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on WandaVision? Are you liking it? Have you even checked it out yet? Is it something you'd like to check out? Or are you not interested? Or are you just waiting for the next movie? And also, I recently watched, this isn't really a movie one, this is a music one, but Jasmine Sullivan, she's got her new project out, Hotels. Really good. Can't lie, it is good. And Jasmine Sullivan, she's just one of those, I think she's one of the top female vocalists right now, in R&B. So that, fight me on that if you want, but that's how I feel. But anyway, check out her Tiny Desk, because seriously, that is one of the best Tiny desk concerts I've seen, man. That is just vibes. My favorite out of that whole thing was her track with her. That was brilliant, man. So yeah, Jasmine Sullivan's Tiny Desk. If you're looking for some vibes, you're looking for some smoothness in the R&B, go for that one, man. That is the one, I'm telling you. Right, next, have you ever wondered what it would be like if Robert Downey Jr. faced off with Eddie Murphy? Wonder no more, because they both did Dr. Dolittle movies at some points in their career. One more recently than the other, obviously. So recently I watched both of the Dr. Dolittles, as I said, and we're just going to get into it. So this one is from Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle, 1998. So what's it all about, Governor? Right, so Dr. John Dolittle, played by Eddie Murphy, has always been able to speak to animals, but his dad, Ossie Davis, wants to make sure he grows up normal. And he does. Fast forward to adulthood, and it seems that John's past is catching up. Directed by Betty Thomas, based on the stories by Hugh Lofting, screenplay by Nat Mauldin and Larry Levin. My rating of this, upon revisiting this modern twist on a doctor who can speak to the animals, it's just as fun and cheesy as I remember it. Tap it straight to my veins. And on this one, we also have Luther's rating. Basically, this sandwich is filling but not satisfying. I like the parts with the shouting and repeating the inappropriate bits. Not understanding most of it though. Also, animals. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Luther King is my 4-year-old son. Yeah, he just turned 4 today as well, so happy birthday to you, Luther. 4 today in the time of recording this. I'll probably release this later. Yeah, so for him, he liked it. But also this, it was definitely a PG, this film. Not the way I remember it. So, yeah, it was good though. Rewatchability factor, yeah, I still enjoy it. So I might revisit it again when Luther's a bit older and then probably argue with him as to why it's a family comedy classic, because I'm sure he'll probably say things like, just don't look right or whatever, or you can see that animal's fake or whatever. Man, that was the 90s. Do you know the levels back then? You know what I mean? Anyway. Right, now, obviously this movie's from 1998, so if you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not going to see it. But spoilers ahoy anyway, just in case you don't want any spoilers. Okay, so my favourite scene is the vet reception. You know, when that woman's shouting at her, at what she thinks is her deaf dog. She's like, sit down, Chauncey. And the dog's just like, I'm not deaf. I just don't want to listen. I just don't like listening to her or something like that. Anyway, just makes me laugh. I mean, upon saying it, it doesn't seem that funny, but in the context of the movie, it's hilarious, I'm sure. Favorite character? I think it's a toss-up between Dolittle and probably Lucky the dog. I mean, Lucky the dog, he just brings it all together, doesn't he? He's a solid guy. So whatever. Quotable moments, I can't really remember any quotes, like, specifically, like, that are like really deep or good or whatever. But yeah, you know, whatever. Okay, so notes, notable moments. Eddie Murphy's riffs with his family are so funny and realistic. Like, just the way he was going off on the kids and stuff, and the way he's bantering with his wife. And yeah, you know what? Like, it's just real. And, you know, it's just like so Eddie Murphy, like, from what I remember of him back then. Like, he just got that natural banter, you know what I mean? That intro scene with Little John Dolittle and the Reverend, played by John Lafayette, still cracks me up. The terror in that little boy's eyes just looks so genuine. So this is when John Dolittle's young at the beginning and basically getting demons cast out of him because he thinks he can speak to animals. So yeah, it just makes me laugh. Also, are we sure there was no animal cruelty? Rodney the guinea pig, played by Chris Rock, got chucked into that cage pretty hard. I'm just saying, like, there are a couple times he just got dashed, but I don't know. I've never owned a guinea pig. Maybe they can just take it. I've got to say, this film suffers from a few old Hollywood tropes. So the wife of the black lead is a beautiful light-skinned woman played by Kristen Wilson. And there's no comment on her acting. She played it really brilliantly. It's just that a lot of the times back in the day with these movies, if you're going to have a black couple, they couldn't just, like, you'd never see, apart from like maybe like the first iteration of Fresh Prince where Aunt Viv was, I can't remember her name now, but you know, the original Aunt Viv, you would never have it where it's a dark-skinned woman, you know, kind of taking the lead, or, you know, the who's the love interest or the partner or the wife, whatever, you know what I mean? It was always some light-skinned woman. And there's this whole, if you don't understand it, basically there's this whole colorism thing within black community. So you kind of have racism, as in, like, you know, white is best, but then because of slavery and colonialism and all that kind of twist up stuff, it kind of filtered down into black culture in that, you know, the fairer you were, the better you were. And Hollywood kind of kept perpetuating that, you know, whether on purpose or not. And yeah, it was one of those things that kept going around those times. Yeah, there's a lot of big names in this movie as well, even if it's just for a short feature. For example, I didn't realize Ellen DeGeneres was playing the dog at the beginning. So, you know, John Dolittle's first dog was played by Ellen. And I recognize the voice now. You know, I can hear it now that I see it. But there you go. Also, I remember my dad taking my brother and me to see it at the cinema. And I don't know if he liked it or felt awkward when certain scenes alluded to adult themes, but then I was a lot older than 3. So I don't know. I'm just saying, parents should have to sit through a lot of crap sometimes. And you got to throw some jokes to them, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just like, why am I here? Obviously, I'm here for my child, but I'm bored. I'm going out of my mind. My mind is melting. And yeah, that was as a quick one, but that was Dr. Dolittle 1998. I still enjoy it to this day. I stand by that movie. Some things probably don't translate well now today, but it's funny, man. Eddie Murphy doing his thing still, you know. It's a good movie. I had a fun time. Okay, so now on to our next film, Dolittle. The other Dolittle. Came out last year, I believe it was 2020? Yeah, it came out last year. Starring Robert Downey Jr. from his own studios as well, I think. His own production studio or whatever you call that thing where you own the studio that releases on. I don't know, man. I should have done a bit more research maybe, but there you go. So what's this all about, Governor? Dr. Dolittle, played by Robert Downey Jr., has become a recluse. He's refusing to leave his grounds and interact with humans until Tommy Stubbins insists upon his help. That and Queen Victoria, played by Jessie Buckley, needs help too. It is directed by Stephen Gaghan, based on the stories by Hugh Lofting, screenplay by Stephen Gaghan and Dan Gregor. My rating: a whimsical and more traditional take on the Doctor who talks with the animals, with enough fun for the family. This sandwich is filling, but not satisfying. This one got trashed critically for the most part, but I enjoyed it enough. I wasn't a massive fan of the CGI though, and there were parts of the story a bit slow, but we'll get into that in a minute. Also, we got Loose Rain on this one. That's not it. Little Man didn't really take to this one. Interest was shown at some of the animals, but overall he weren't really about it. Possibly a bit too whimsical for him at this age. So yeah, it's just got a bit too much of that, you know, that kind of typical sort of British charm, even though it's not really a British film. But you know what I kind of mean. You know, with those kind of movies, a lot of pompousness and I don't know, just didn't grab them. Rewatchability factor, I did have to watch it again for this, but yeah, other than that, I don't think I enjoyed it enough to go through it again, go out of my way. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a terrible movie, but it just wasn't a great movie, you know? It was just okay, in my opinion. I don't know. Okay, so after that, if you still want to see it, spoilers ahoy. My favourite scene, I don't really think I have one, to be honest. They're all kind of on par with each other. The stuff on the island was kind of cool, you know, when they were out, when they finished their... I sound so jaded about this, can't lie, but when they finished their journey to the island, yeah, I guess that was kind of cool. Favourite character, Dab Dab the Duck, played by Octavia Spencer. Voiced by Octavia Spencer, should I say. The most earnest and helpful, in my opinion, in if she thought every piece of medical equipment was a leak, which actually I found it kind of funny, you know, when you get asked from a scalpel, leak, you know, no, that's not, that's a leak, and she kept just bringing a leak. I thought it was kind of funny. Can't lie. It brought to my younger sort of humour. I know Polly the parrot, voiced by Emma Thompson, got the wheels in motion, but I like Dad more. What can I say? Also, shout out to the squirrel. Genuinely made me laugh. You know, when there were hardly any laughs to be had. Shout out to the squirrel, played by Craig Robinson, and also Jason Mantzoukas, who voiced James the Dragonfly. Those two, in my opinion, were the funniest characters out of the whole movie. I just had fun with them. What can I say? Okay, quotable moments. I don't really have any, really. I mean, there was potentially one about when Robert Downey Jr. Dolittle was talking to the gorilla, voiced by Rami Malek, about fear, but then it kind of got cut off, and you know, as part of the fun of the movie. But yeah, it could have been a nice quote, but yeah. Notes that's notable moments. Okay, so my notes. Let's see. All right, so in the beginning, in the intro, they sort of did the backstory in a cel shaded animation style. I would have preferred to see the whole movie like that, in that style, if I'm honest. I know it's not the big thing in Hollywood. You know, you either do full out animation or you do CGI / live action or these kind of movies these days. But I would have liked that. It would have looked different, would have stood out, and it might have done better because a lot of people were comparing the CGI to Cats And I haven't seen Cats, but I've seen some clips, and oh my goodness, what fresh hell is this? But I don't think the CGI was as bad, but it wasn't amazing at times. It was just, there were a lot of like weird, uncanny valley moments and weird just stuff that didn't really fit, Right, so Robert Downey Jr., he puts on a Welsh accent in this, and I gotta say, it just took me a while to get used to. I'd seen him play Iron Man for so many years, and just had that American accent. I know he did Sherlock, and he pulled off a British accent there as well, but British and Welsh are totally different. But yeah, threw me. Initially, I thought it was some kind of weird Scottish accent. I just couldn't place it because it was coming out of his mouth. It was only until like the dragon cave scene, where the dragon has the bagpipes up her butt, that if you ain't seen it, you ain't seen it. But I think it's pretty decent, as a non-Welsh British dude judging a Welsh accent. I think he did all right with that accent. I completely forgot that Polly the Parrot was narrating this until the end, if I'm honest. It's not that I wasn't concentrating, it's just that I forgot. And it's not that she did a bad job, it's just that, I don't know, I just wasn't really on it. Cool, they got Antonio Banderas. I like Antonio Banderas. He was in this movie, and that was fun. It's a proper star-studded cast, man. Just like, there's big names all over the shop. Sometimes playing like really minimal scenes. Oh, I saw who else was in it? Gavin and Stacey. Stacey was in it. The woman who played Stacey. That was cool. That was fun to see. She played Starvin's mum. So there you go. So yeah, that's both movies. It's a bit of a short one today. It is what it is. I thought it was alright. It's an alright movie. But in terms of Duel of the Dolittles, if we've got to say who won, got to be Dr. Dolittle, 1998, Eddie Murphy, man. I just found it a lot more enjoyable. Is that because I had nostalgia on my side as well? I don't think so. I just think it was the best movie for me. Okay, guys, so that was my review of the Dolittle movies. Yeah, that's it. That's the show. We've done another one, episode 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you would like me to review next or talk about next or even look into next. This is The Real View Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Episode 2 done. I'll see you next time. I'm going to try and make this thing a bi-weekly podcast. So every couple of weeks, every fortnight, you will get some new content. Hopefully, that's what I'm looking to do. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Like I say, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll keep it moving. Thanks for tuning in to another podcast, guys. God bless and all the rest. Remember to follow @Miles Reviews. That's Miles with a Y on Instagram and Facebook for more reviews, movies, TV, and music stuff.